They didn't want any unwanted guests coming in. Look at how big my castle is. My castle's bigger than your castle. Guten Tag und ist ein schöner Tag. Welcome to Krautsalat. I am Eric, an American living in Germany. Today is quite exciting. We are out on the road for the very first time. We're on the way to Frankfurt, and we had to make a pit stop for lunch. We stopped near Alsfeld in the small village of Romrod. We saw the name on the sign, and it was like, oh, that sounds like a metal little village. We have to stop. Well, it turns out they had this cool old castle. While we had our lunch, we decided to, why not take a look at it and start a new feature talking about castles in Germany. This is becoming quite requested, so why not do it? And why not start at a cool little spot like this? Real quickly, we looked up some little history about the Schloss Romrod and discovered that it was made in the 12th century with the moat style of castle where it had the water surrounding it. We learned that in the 16th century, they totally rebuilt the whole thing, quite close to as we see it now. And we also learned that after the Second World War, they used this to house refugees up until the 1970s. So that's kind of cool. That's very cool.
Nice.
From the 70s, it sat empty for about 20 years. And that's when the Denkmalschutz came in. Began like a restoration, like a historical restoration kind of. After they came in, it's been used as a hotel. Well, das Schloss ist geschlossen. However, the old castle is now a hotel. So that's pretty cool. Maybe next time I'll stay for a night. I noticed they've got some small festivals, like they have some concerts and village things that they do here. So that's really cool. Let's do this. Let's do 10 facts about German castles.
I am king of the castle.
The Burg, the Schloss. There's so much about this. So let's get into that. Ten facts on the German Schloss und Burg, the castles. Number 1, the designs of the walls. They built these things like a fortress, a Wehrbau. They didn't want any unwanted guests coming in. Number 2, the name Burg came from a combination of the Celtic bona,
What?
the word for the small village, and the Latin burga, which would be like the tower. So putting a small village inside a tower, basically, and we have Burg. Number 3, the different uses. The certain class of people, the Adel, an upper class, would live in here. Also governing, the kings wouldn't necessarily have one castle, they would have multiple castles around their kingdom. Also the church cluster, the nuns and the priests and everyone, the bishops, whatever, would live inside the castle. And a Stadtburg, like a mini city within the castle. We've seen this in movies, so the whole city or village would be in there. And last but not least, maybe the best, the Fleeburg. This would be used as a safety, almost like a bunker for the village. But like if there was any danger, the people living nearby needed a place to be where they were safe, it would be the Fleeburg within the castle walls. Number 4, Germany does not know exactly how many castles are or were located here, but the rough guess is 25,000. Wow. Number 5, the EBI, the European Castle Institute, is working on cataloging all of these castles. And they began about 2 years ago. They expect it to take 10 years. So they're going to be busy for a while. Number 6, of all of the castles that they are aware of, only about 20% of them fully stand with roofs. About 40% are just ruins, but then another 40% are basically just a foundation or the spot on the ground, the Bodendenkmal, where they know that it stood there. But there's no standing proof. Number 7 is always the location. This was very important. They built these castles based on the natural surroundings. They used the nature, the things that what God gave them you know, whether on top of a mountain. They used their surroundings the best they could for defense and security measures. Number 8, the architectural elements. Not only the design of the doors, but first, typically they would have a ditch for the moat, if not built on a mountain. Of course, the characteristic of the walls, the towers inside the castles would have a zwinger. This is like the armory, basically, for the military and safety reasons, security. And then, of course, the living quarters. Number 9, here's a little bit of a fun fact. Within the housing, the capella, or like the religious housing that was used, this made me think of a movie reference. Like, we've seen this a lot, but when we were looking up these facts, I thought about Robin Hood, the sheriff of Nottingham. In the castle that he lived in, he always had his priest right there in the castle. He also had his alchemist. So within his home walls, he was able to go and talk to his priest to provide, you know, the white clarity. And then he had available to him that dark side that he could entrust. And that's a bit funny. Number 10, to close out this list, maybe not so much a fact, but a matter of opinion. These walls and the structural design, was it really used for protection, or how much of it was just a symbol of power? Look at how big my castle is. My castle's bigger than your castle. That sort of thing. So this was the toilets? I guess it makes sense, but I can just imagine how nasty this shit was piling up outside the wall. Now we just learned some facts. We learned how many castles there really are in Germany, and I want to see some of them. So let me know, like, as you see, this is a small one, but I really enjoy this. I definitely want to go to Neuschwanstein. Near Hanover is the Marienburg. Let me know some of the little, like, hidden gems, the little diamonds that are nearby where you live in your area, because I want to see a lot of them. Like, I really love this sightseeing thing, and we don't have these castles in the US. So drop some names in the comments, let me know where I can find some of these places, and we will visit some of them. Now, we are off and down the road. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye, Robin.